So what was it, once the process began, and then you were here on the visit, kind of take us through your thought process of going from the visit to committing and becoming a Cardinal?
Right. I mean, obviously, I'd been through the recruiting process as a high schooler, and then had some college experience. So I think, myself and my family had a pretty defined idea of, what we wanted to look for in schools. Louisville, along with a couple other schools, fit that bill. So going on those visits was really important. Spending time with the coaches, spending time with the players was really important. And then also talking to players who had played for Coach Brom in the past really went a long way. I think at the end of the day, the ability to play for Coach Brom, what he's done to develop quarterbacks at this level and prepare them for the NFL is really what set Louisville apart.
Personally, what have the last few months been like? How hard is it to be here with everything that's going on at home? Kind of, and what's the latest on what is it?
Yeah. I mean, whenever you transition to, a different stage in your life, whether that's a different school, different career, new job, which I don't have any experience with, but, there's going to be a period of time of acclimation, and that's not always going to be easy. And I knew that coming in. I think, the entire staff here, both strength and coaching staff, along with the locker room, has really welcomed me and made that transition a lot easier. Obviously, with everything that went on where I'm from, it maybe exacerbated how difficult that was. But no, I mean, it's been really cool to see that community come together, and really see the best of people come forward in a difficult situation.
What's the transition been? I mean, obviously, you guys haven't been in practice yet. It starts,
Right.
in a month, less than a month. But what's the transition been like? And did you know anybody in the receiver room or quarterback room here?
I got to spend time around Chris and Colin on my visit, which was really good. Corresponded with them a couple times afterwards, which kind of gave me a certain level of comfort coming in, which I think is important. In terms of the transition, it's been great. Obviously, Coach Brom's offense is extremely complex. It's very NFL based. So I've really tried to embrace that challenge. I think, really diving into that is going to prepare me really well, not only for this year, but in my career beyond that. So it's been a really cool process, and I'm just excited to continue to learn and continue to grow with not only the receivers, but the rest of the team.
Well, obviously, for football reasons, it makes sense to come here, but just being born and raised out of California and Columbus, was it hard just to be this far away from family, and what has that been like in terms of having that for the first time?
Yeah, no, I was ready for it. I think it's important, not only in, my development as a player, but in my development as a human being to experience other things and live in other places of the country. Louisville's a really cool city that I didn't know much about, whether I was the football program, but, the food, the culture, obviously, we have the Derby and stuff like that. So it's been awesome to learn about. And I think, like I said, it was a necessary step for me in my development. It's something that I was really excited about.
Excuse me. How quickly after you went in the portal did Louisville reach out to you, and do you feel like your performance in the Holiday Bowl made an impression on them? And thirdly, how are you enjoying the weather?
Fairly quickly, I would say that day or the next day. It's hard to remember how that no contact period works. In terms of the Holiday Bowl, I think that was my first time really playing on a relevant college football stage. So that was a really good experience for me. I think because of that, maybe I was on Louisville's radar a little bit, but I think anyone can go out and have one game or one special night. So I think in taking a quarterback, I think Coach Brom, I know, is going to do his due diligence and look at the entire picture and what he felt that I could bring to the program. So I trusted him that he could do his homework, and hopefully he liked what he saw. But yeah, the weather's been an adjustment for sure.
Have you ever seen snow before?
I had not probably 8 or 10 times in my life. But driving it, I'm still getting used to. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Miller, you talked about talking to a few players who looking at the quarterbacks that you talked to, and if you did speak to them, what did you take away from those conversations as positives and why you thought to develop?
Yeah, so I got to speak to Tyler, obviously, on my visit, which was great. He obviously, had a phenomenal year, and I think, he was a guy that was here for 1 year, and really was able to further his NFL career in being here. So obviously he had a unique perspective, and I really enjoyed speaking to him. Another guy that I spoke to was David Blau. Obviously didn't play here, but played for Coach Brom at Purdue. I got to spend some time with Cliff Kingsbury, and David's the quarterback coach of the Commanders. So he connected us, which was really cool. And he obviously could speak from the other end in that he played in the NFL and now is on the coaching end. But he really emphasized to me how prepared he felt going into the NFL. And he was like, look, I wasn't the most talented guy, but because I was so far ahead of some other guys schematically, and in terms of my knowledge of the game, I was able to stay in the NFL for a lot longer than maybe I should have based on my talent. So hearing someone say that, obviously from the opposite end of the spectrum, you could say, was helpful. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Cliff, and David came highly recommended from Cliff. So yeah.
When you look at the guys around you and the weapons you have, to have a running back room with Isaac and Duke and Elon like you have, what have you kind of seen from, those guys when you've watched some film, and how excited are you to kind of go out there with them?
Yeah, they're dynamic. I mean, selfishly, whenever you can run the ball, it helps you throw the ball better. So, but no, those guys are dynamic. They're really hard workers. They're really diligent. I think the experience that some of those guys got as young players is really helpful. In terms of going into a second year in the offense, having played a ton, doesn't always happen. And I think that just helps the offense move more efficiently. I think they're dynamic players with the ball in their hand. They're dynamic players catching the ball out of the backfield, and it makes the offense more multiple. When you become reliant on drop back pass or running the ball or quick game or whatever it is, like, you become more predictable offensively. And I think having dynamic guys in a number of places helps avoid that.
Everybody always says Coach Brown's offense is so complex, and that would, even Coach Branch was in here a minute ago talking about the number of plays. How
Right.
kind of would you compare it to others that you've seen?
It's a lot more, and I think it comes down to just the specificity of what he's trying to accomplish, without obviously getting into too much detail. Coach Brom's really, really intelligent, and his offense is a reflection of that. So, like I said, I think it's a really good challenge, and it's one that's going to push me, and one that I'm really excited for.
Did you realize you had 8 home games when you came here?
No.
And what is that? How is that? I mean, this crowd gets crazy, especially.
Right.
There's one Friday night game in there that they go pretty nuts. What's your thoughts on having 8 home games in front of these fans?
It's great. It's a tremendous advantage. I didn't know that going in, but it's a tremendous advantage. I think when you look at it in the entire scope of college football, 70% of the time the home team wins, and that's regardless of matchup, whatever conference, whatever it is. So, being able to play in front of our fans is obviously great, and it's also a great advantage. So, that's not to say that we're not going to go take care of business on the road, but it's an advantage, and we're gonna exercise it.
What did you kind of take from the reaction from the Louisville fans when you're dealing with the stuff at home, and people who don't know you, I'm sure, are reaching out, and has people been able to help you in any way?
Yeah, definitely. I think, it really says a lot about, this university, this fan base, this city, that they were and have been so supportive. That's not something that's required, or even expected for that matter. So I think it's extremely revealing when you talk about the character of this team, when you talk about the character of this program, this university, and this city, and just made me, even more confident in my decision to come here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.